You just finished the campaign, and now you have no idea what to do. Then this video is just for you. What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new First Descendant video, coming at you with the endgame grind loop. All of this here is to prepare you for the fight ahead, especially when we get the new dungeons and the new bosses. This game is all about grind. When I say grind, you're gonna have to be grinding quite a lot just to be at the top of your game. And for those who are playing completely F2P, not spending a single dime, then I would recommend for you to have specific Descendants and investing into those just to help you ease into this entire game. So the first thing that you want to do when you finish your campaign is make sure to get your items to level 100. Your Descendant will cap out at level 40, while your weapons, components, and reactors will go up to level 100. The one thing that you want to avoid doing is infusing your older weapons with newer weapons. Let me tell you why. So for example, I have the Divine Punishment. Now when you look at this, you're gonna see, ooh, gold and purple affixes. Now, the one thing you have to take note, this is at level 1. So these stats will be good for a level 1 weapon. And when you upgrade this to a higher level, you're going to see that the stats are going to be way lower. I'll take my Divine Punishment right here at level 1, grab a level 100 weapon, and then infuse it. If we have a look at Divine Punishment right now, all of those stats that were gold and purple are now white because they still remain at that level 1 state. So whenever you get to level 100, you want to go out there in the maps and refarm those weapons at a higher level because they will have higher base affixes. Now, what weapons do I recommend for you to get? Number one, everyone is always going to have a Thunder Cage. So if you really like this weapon and you want to invest in it, highly recommend to do so because it's very good to have as an all-rounder weapon for mobbing and even bossing. However, if you want boss-specific weapons but are still in the SMG category, then you have the Python, which I recently got. This SMG is not crit focused, but it has a very high RPM and it does a lot of weak point damage. Now, for the auto rifle category, highly recommend for you to get the Eternal Willpower. This is one of the strongest auto rifles right now, and I've been shredding bosses with it. Unfortunately, it's at a 1x weak point damage multiplier, so you don't really have to roll for weak point on the weapon. So what you want is crit rate, crit damage, magazine, and bonus damage to Colossi. Now, for the hand cannon category, you have the Immediate Execution, which is a solid weapon, very high in crit, good critical damage, good weak point damage. Nizastra's Devotion. This is insanely good for debuffing the boss. It can also help your teammates and can also help you out in general. And of course, the Assassin's Edge. This is by far the strongest rare hand cannon you can get. It has a base 40% crit rate, 2x critical damage multiplier, and a 2x weak point damage multiplier. So it hits very hard. Unfortunately, it has a low magazine, so you're going to have to mod into that. Now for the Scout Rifle category, this silly Weeper is insanely good. It is slow, but hits very hard. So if you like to have a sniper that's not a sniper, with more ammunition, with decent multipliers, then highly recommend this one. And for the exotic versions of scout rifles, highly recommend the Blue Beetle. I'm still farming the parts for this, but it does have some pretty good multipliers and can synergize with Descendants that deal fusion and singular damage. Now, of course, the best sniper in the game is the Afterglow Sword. Still farming for this one. This deals insane amounts of damage. If we have a look at the stats right now, 50% crit rate, 2x critical damage multiplier. Yes, it has a 1.8x weak point damage multiplier. However, if you read the unique ability, you're going to see how good this weapon is. Because as soon as you hit a weak point, you get all of these buffs. And they stack. So that's pretty damn good. Now, if you don't have the Afterglow and you want a sniper, then the Forest Gaze is going to be your next best thing. And finally, for machine guns, everybody knows about the Tamer. These crit stats are here to synergize with Valby and Blair to make the Tamer crit viable. However, if you want a very strong machine gun that scales good with crits, then grab yourself the Enduring Legacy. This is a very powerful weapon. The unfortunate side of farming rare weapons, you cannot track them where they drop. But the only way you can see if you have a weapon is going through your weapon list. However, you cannot track them to farm them. So you're going to have to find an interactive map just to see where these weapons drop. So if you want to do the tedious thing, but still effective, you're going to have to go into some of these maps, open them up, hover over some of these missions, and see which one drops the weapon you're looking for. Like right here, I got Assassin's Edge on this mission, and this mission drops the Eternal Willpower. So yeah, you can just do that. All right, now let's move on to the reactor section. Now, reactors are going to be very important for your builds, especially if your Descendant is an ability-based Descendant or a Descendant that uses their abilities to enable their weapons. So it depends on how you're going to play them. Now, every Descendant has abilities that are tied to fusion, singular, tech, or dimensional. Find out which ability you want to build into. So for example, most bunny builds are going to build into the third ability, which is singular. So you want to find reactors that have the electric and singular damage bonus. If you have a look at reactors in general, they're going to have that flat skill power on the top left. This is your baseline skill power. And then at the bottom over there, you have the optimization condition. Notice how it's at 100% because I don't have the mounting condition. Mounting condition means you need to have the weapon active on you at all times. So if I were to switch my eternal willpower here to the Albion Cavalry, now I get that 60% increase to my damage, which enhances your overall damage output. Now, I'm not really using this weapon. It's just there to activate this reactor because unfortunately I didn't get it for the Thunder Cage, so I'll have to keep farming. Now we go down to the skill boost ratio. Now the skill boost ratio, all this means is that it's additive to any type of skill boost you have modded onto your Descendant. So if we take a look at our bunny, we have no mods over here, and we have the 0.2 coming from here, and you have that 1000, and you have that 11,724 skill power. So if we go to more info, click that, you will see that's what is affecting right now. Max electricity, skill power, and your skill boost ratio along with your electric skill boost. Now this is at 0.285 because I have that electric skill boost ratio at the bottom added on to my 0.2 on my boost ratio. Now if I were to add electric master, this is electric skill power. Add this here. Now you will see our electric skill power boost ratio has increased. So yes, that mod along with the skill boost ratio and the affixes with skill boost ratio are all additive to each other. And this functions the same as adding power increase because these are the same thing. Any increase to your skill power will affect the skill boost ratio. And then you have your singular modifier, for example, right here, focus on singular. This is a modifier that affects the motion value of your singular abilities. And you'll notice right there, I have a 0.682 times singular modifier because I added this. And then finally at the bottom, you're going to have your affixes, which can roll with anything. Bunny's abilities do crit, so that skill critical hit damage will affect her abilities if she does crit. And the electric skill boost ratio is just some additional damage. So now where to farm reactors in general? You're gonna have to open up your world map. Look at the bottom right there where it says difficulty level rewards. When you click this, you can see all the active reactors that are farmable currently. Why do I say that? Because there is a weekly rotation for these reactors. Right now, as of recording, there's 23 hours left. So if you want to farm a singular reactor with specific ammo types under the electric category, then you're going to have to search for them. So for example, I want electric and general rounds along with fusion, general rounds along with singular. I see I don't have any general rounds or singular available because it's not in the rotation at the moment. Now, how do I see what's coming next? By going down again and see all rewards. When you click this, you can see the upcoming rotation. The green is our current rotation. So you're gonna have to scroll and see where your singular, general rounds, or whatever type of ammo type you want to synergize with your electric singular reactor. Now that we're on the topic of your world map, this is actually a very important thing because you have access to access info. Access info is your codex. So many people do not use this. You'd be surprised, they just come here and they're like, okay, it's some fancy things. This helps you farm things. Actually, let me rephrase that. This helps you target farm certain things. Let's say I'm looking for a module. You see how I have them targeted? These are the modules that I want. How do I do that? I click on modules here, search for whatever module, let's say weak point expansion. Now, I don't have the impact version of weak point expansion, so I can click on F, which shows me the acquisition info. Click on that, and it shows me all the available spots I can farm this mod. And you can see where it actually drops. It drops from a mission monster. So if you want to track it, then you put tracking on. And when you come back and press the designated key for tracking, you will see all of the mods that I'm tracking and whether I got them or not. So if I got one, it will show 1 out of 1 and I'm done. I'm done with that grind. This also counts for basic materials, where they drop, your amorphous materials, all the other materials required to craft, let's say, a catalyst. Unfortunately, when it comes to the weapons, you can only see exotic weapons and not the rare ones. Now, speaking of crafting, you're gonna have to do this all the time. I went from 60 million gold to 100k in 2 days because of leveling up mods and crafting. We'll get to the mod section in a bit. So talking about crafting as a whole, you're gonna come to anus over here. That's exactly how to pronounce it. Trust me, I know. Why crafting? You can grab yourself a catalyst. All of these are farmable. An energy reactor. These help you increase the capacity for your descendants and weapons. And this one halves the mod cost for your descendants and weapons. And you can do the same thing that you did in Access Info. Let's say I want to farm for the blue beetle. I type in blue beetle and it shows me all that I need to craft the blue beetle. Now, what am I missing? I'm missing the blueprint and I'm missing the polymer sigsidium. So if I want to farm this polymer sigsidium, look how when I hover over it, it shows acquisition info. Click shows me where to get the amorphous material and where to crack them. Simple as that. Now, the other thing that you should be crafting all the time are these enhancement materials. Whenever you get the chance, whenever you have the gold and everything, you're going to have to be crafting fine adjustment control and the regular adjustment controls. This is used to reroll the substats, the affixes of your exotic weapons, while this one is used for the rare weapons. Now, I burned through these like crazy. Same thing with gold. It's because you're trying to get that god roll. Now, speaking about mods, gold, and Kuiper all in one, there are 3 places that I highly recommend for you to go to when you want to farm decent amount of Kuiper, gold, and experience at the same time. The number 1 spot that I'm pretty sure everybody knows is in Sterile Lands, not there, but this mission right here, Ambush Point. It is a 30-second mission, and it is the best mission to farm gold because you can get 30 to 50k gold within 30 seconds. Now, if you do this very fast, you go in and out, shred everything, reset the mission, you get pretty decent amount of gold. Just make sure you have a gold booster and components that increase your gold gain. And it's simple. You're just going to go in a circle. Now, if you're playing Bunny, you're just going to one-shot everything way too quickly. But you can do this with any other Descendants. And then you're going to finish off with these few enemies and a boss. So yeah, 30-second mission. Decent amount of gold. Now, the other spot for a decent amount of Kuiper and gold that does take about 3 to 4 minutes to finish because it's more of a bulk farming and it's great for experience at the same time. And both of these missions are in White Knight Gulch. I'm pretty sure all of you know about the shipment base right there. I've done a video on this. There is a faster way to do this using the abort mission strat. And finally, on the bottom right here on Moongrave Basin, you're going to do this mission right here. This requires you to farm a specific spot and fail the mission successfully. So let me show you this one first. You start the mission like always. However, you're going to ignore B and you're only going to focus on A. You're going to let the enemies capture A. So trigger this right here and then ignore the enemies that spawn here for now. Move into the cave. Now you're going to see some ranged enemies walk towards. You see those guys right there? They're going to walk towards that point and they're going to stay there. And what you're going to do is just kill the enemies that spawn over here and ignore those guys and kill these other bad guys. Right there, you see how we have 3 minutes now to farm this mission by just going back and forth, killing these enemies and the enemies that spawn on the ledge right there. Now, this is also pretty decent to level up your Descendant and even weapon proficiency. However, there's another spot to level up that I will show you just after this. So you're going to be doing this mission until it fails, and then you just restart the mission. But let's abandon right now real quick. Just from that little running around, that's a decent amount of Kuiper, decent amount of gold as well. And you got yourself a bunch of reactors that you can dismantle for some resources and sensors. Holy shoot, you get a lot of sensors here. Now, of course, the other White Knight Gulch farm is over here on Fortress Outskirts. So you simply just start the mission. You want to make sure to kill every enemy here in the area so you can progress up here. You just want to start A, B. You're going to have enemies spawning here. And just kill everything that spawns. You're going to run around until all the objectives reach 100%. And then you're going to abort the mission. You don't want to finish this mission. So let's say we finished everything. You just abort. Everything goes back to normal. You press your view mission results and then restart the mission. Just like that. Now I'm at the module segment. What to do with additional mods, leveling up mods, and how to target farm certain mods. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen this guy right here, You can enhance your mods to increase the potency of your modules. You can dismantle modules. This is a great tool. So when you hold down this button right here, it will dismantle any of your duplicate mods, giving you even more Kuiper. So Kuiper is a bottleneck in the beginning of the game, but once you get to the end game, gold is going to be your bottleneck. So right now, I do not want to dismantle these Transcendent modules, even though they're duplicates, because I can use them to get even more Transcendent modules. So the last option here is combine modules. So this allows you to combine modules to get a new module that you don't even own, or in most cases, you're just going to get a duplicate of the duplicate. So if I put 4 Transcendent modules together, it will cost me gold to get a new module, or the game could be a dick and give me one of these 4 modules that I use to combine. So let's see what we get. I got a duplicate of a mod I already have, which is unfortunate. Now you can use exotic modules to get a chance at getting a Transcendent modules, but you have to remember, when you're gambling with these modules, you're gambling in a larger diluted loot table rather than target farming. So I highly recommend to target farm quite a few mods. So for example, Backdraft, this drops from a lot of different places, as you can see. However, if you look at Classic Chef, this drops from a specific boss, Frostwalk. Now, there are a few modules that have one of the worst drop rates ever. For example, Supply Moisture, Valby's amazing augment. This is a world drop. Look at all the locations that it drops from. And this is from monsters. When you kill ads and mobs, now this is a 1% drop within a more diluted loot pool. So you could be out there farming these missions for hours and still not get this, because I've been doing that for hours. But if you remember earlier what I was talking about target farming and marking them, you can do this. Like modules, you're going to want to target farm your components. When you click over here, it shows you where all of these drop. I've collected pretty much everything except some of these other ones everywhere. So you see, you can go to Stunning Beauty, you can go to these areas and get yourself a nice support auxiliary power. Now, there's some specific set bonuses that do drop from hard mode intercept. You're gonna have to farm these bosses to get specific sets. For example, Executioner, really good for Bunny. You have Devourer, good for Glay. All these different bosses will drop a specific set. For anyone playing Blair, oh god, you're gonna have to go here and farm Molten Furnace. So you're gonna have to slog your way through all these bosses. They're not so bad once you know their mechanics. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to want to learn mechanics and expect carries. Now this part here is for people looking for the best Descendants that you need to get to help you farm and gain even more Descendants. There are 3 that I recommend to get right away. Of course, Ultimate Bunny. You can farm every single Descendant in the game without spending a single dime. Ultimate Bunny is pretty much a better version of Bunny. She has access to unique augments, skill power modules, and she has better stats. And of course, way better skins. Way better skins. The other Descendant I highly recommend on you getting next is Enzo. Enzo is so good at helping you farming those encrypted vaults. That means you get even more Kuiper with Enzo. On top of that, those encrypted vaults drop materials for you to craft your catalysts. So he's perfect for that. Not only that, his kit is pretty good as a whole. Now, if you don't want to play Glay, but you want to play a Descendant that's pretty good with bossing and not have to worry about ammo, then Enzo is your guy. Then finally, Sharon. Sharon is great for dealing with outposts. She can go invisible, go to those outposts, hack them so you can get even more rewards. Those rewards will include resources for crafting your reactors, your catalysts, and even amorphous materials. You can get double the rewards thanks to Sharon hacking the outposts. So these are the top 3 Descendants that I highly recommend for you to get: Bunny, Enzo, and Sharon. Otherwise, if you don't care and you just want to play the game, do what you want. It's your game, have fun, play how you want. But this info right here is good for those F2P players who want to maximize their earnings. Because if it wasn't for the Sharon and Enzo, right, crafting all of these wouldn't be so easy. Like, I'm not having an issue crafting any of these. The only setback for the catalyst is getting the blueprint, which is more RNG than anything. Now, you already saw the Golden Kuiper Farm. Those places are pretty good for experience gain and leveling up your Descendants and your weapon proficiency. Leveling up your Descendants and proficiency grants you Mastery Rank XP. And not only that, once you get them to level 40, you're able to place a catalyst. Catalyst will have the cost of your mods, so then you can have a better complete build. So now if you just want to focus on XP and you don't worry too much about Kuiper, then I highly recommend block Kuiper mining and sterile lands. A bunny is going to be beneficial. Like, trust me, bunny will help you out in pretty much everything. Having a bunny will speed up the farm, help you level up faster. And then another one where an electric descendant is required. And bunny's an electric descendant. And AoE is going to be very useful there as well. So bunny's electric and AoE. So where is that exactly? Well, you want to go to the fortress. And it's this void fragment right here. If you don't have this waypoint, you're going to grab this one, walk all the way to this point. But make sure you unlock this on your way. So you're going to find yourself in this cave right here. Activate the third ability to trigger the mission. Enemies are going to be spawning there and there. Now, if you have insane range, you're just going to be standing against the wall, killing everything that's coming in sight. However, if you don't have crazy amounts of range, just run back and forth. It's fine. And this mission doesn't take that long. It's around 40 seconds to a minute long. As you see, the mission is not that long. It takes around 48 seconds to a minute, and you get those void fragments that will help you open up those void missions. Now, the only downside is that it does take just a little bit to respawn. They're just gonna wait for it. As soon as it respawns, you trigger your third ability and do the thing again. Just like that. All right, folks, that is my endgame grind loop and amazing places to farm. So folks, that has been it for me. I do have enjoyed this video, and if it did help you out, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more First Descendant content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching. As always, a peace. Bye-bye now.